everybody, my name is Tracy Ford. I am the owner of this channel as well as the producer. And tonight on the Sundry series, we are going to talk about radio, podcasts, paper interviews, as well as blog interviews. Radio opens you to a local fan base, typically, unless you're using a web-based radio like Blog Talk Radio. These platforms that we're going to talk to you about this evening, or that we're going to talk about this evening, they are literally platforms for your work. They can give you credibility as well as link you and network you to all kinds of different options and people. Interviews with radio personalities in your local area, like I said, gives you some credibility, and it also links you with those individuals. And especially if those individuals are respected in the community, guess what's going to happen? You are likely going to be respected because they liked you enough to take time out of their day to host you on their radio show. I will always be thankful for Barb Pratt here in our local Portsmouth area. Every time something new happens, she welcomes me on her show, Community Corner, and we talk and we have fun, and she's wonderful to work with. Newspapers. Newspapers are not a thing of the past. They have advanced and rolled with the times. They have become electronic as well as hard copy. They have evolved. That's a good word. They have evolved, and they have rolled with the punches. Just when it looked like print was going out, they decided to convert to electronic print, which some people have it on their iPad or their notebooks, and every morning when they're having coffee, guess what? They click on that open link and they read the paper. Local papers connect you with your local community. Sometimes they'll help, sometimes they won't. I've actually run into situations where I had one newspaper tell me that my story was like too positive. In other words, they prided themselves on giving you controversial content. Now, if you really want to get down to the brass tacks, I guess some of my content is controversial, although it's not too terribly bad. But it was like, you have too much positive stuff going on, so we're not going to talk about you. We want to talk about dirt in the news. That's not how I roll, and that's okay. The other option is blogging. Blog tours and blog interviews are a great way to get a national and international audience. They give you a way to connect with people all across the world. They are widely followed, and hops and interviews can help build your audience. They can also solidify your audience. If you blog with certain people that have lots of followers, they're going to be looking more at you. They're going to be looking at what's coming next. They're going to be looking at you with, again, credibility. That's the thing that we all want as authors, is credibility. We want people to take us seriously. I don't care if we write children's books or romance novels. We want people to take us seriously because we have poured our lives into our writing and our work. So the next thing that we're going to talk about is signings. And when you are having a signing, all of these platforms that I'm talking about right now are great ways to get out the word, hey, I will be in this area on this date at this time, please come see me. You always want to be able to make face-to-face contact with your fans and your readers. If you're an enigma and no one actually believes you exist, when you go out and do signings, guess what? You're real. You're a real person with blood and lungs, and you breathe and all kinds of different great things. If people don't see you, they're going to think, is she really who she says she is? Or does he really publish those books? Absolutely. You want to get out in the community, and you want to network with people. Conventions, anything you can afford. You need to try and do that. And we will talk about that at a later time. I don't want to get too much into budgeting and travel today because that's not the focus of today. But those are considerations that you're going to have to take in to see whether it's going to benefit you to travel. My first year was a gamble, and I kept track of what worked and I kept track of what didn't work, and I didn't do it the second year. The one thing, or the things that you need to remember when you're doing radio, podcasts, paper interviews, and blogs is that you need to do a Google search of your local papers, your local radio stations, and your local television stations, and you need to call them. If you're an indie, you're going to have to call them. If you're with a publisher, your marketing people are going to have to call them. If it happens to be you that has to call them, be bold, be assertive, but be kind. Schedule dates right then. Don't give them the opportunity to say, well, we'll call you back. No, here is why I'm important. Here is why it benefits you to do this. What date do you want me to come? What information do you want so that it can be published on this date? Be assertive. Don't be mean, but be assertive. I have personal goals, and that's the next thing I want to talk about, and the last thing that I want to talk about regarding this episode. This is a very short episode, but we get right down to the brass tacks here. You have to set goals for yourself as an author. I don't care what those goals are, but you know what you want to accomplish. So write them down. Look at them. Memorize them. My goals for 2015 is to do at least 2 paper interviews. Right now, as it stands, I am recording this in March. Everything I do is pre-recorded. I have reached out to 5 newspapers. Actually, my husband, who is the marketing director for Oswin Publishing, has reached out to I think 5 different newspapers. We're waiting to hear back from them because a lot of them is like, they're like, send me an email. Okay, that's fine. The next thing we will be doing is 2 weeks from now, we will be checking back with them. Follow-up is vitally important in any type of interview situation or anything like that. My next goal was to go back on WNXT, and guess what? I did. On the 30th, because I'm recording this in March, the 30th of March, I went on with Barb Pratt at 8 o'clock in the morning on Community Corner. I love her, and I'm so appreciative of her support. I also want to continue with my work on Blog Talk Radio. I have met some pretty interesting individuals and some pretty interesting groups, and I would not have been given that opportunity if it was not for Marcia Casper Cook and Willow Cross. And I want to continue my work with them. I am so inspired by them, and they picked me out of a crowd to be a co-host on their show, as well as Kelly Abell. And we have a blast, and I don't want to give that up. And I thought I was going to have to give it up in 2014, but thank goodness I didn't have to. So I want to continue with that. I also want to be interviewed by at least one blogger during the year of 2015. I want to at least do 2 signings this summer, and I will tell you right now we have about 4 set up for this summer. So that goal has already been met. And then I at least want to gain 10 more followers on my Facebook page as well as my blog. I want to gain more people, and because that's what matters. Your readers and your fans, that's what matters the most, is the people that support you and the people that read your work. That is a testament unto itself. If you produce work that people like, that's great. That's the biggest compliment you can have as an author. And you don't have to be a best-selling author. But if you have loyal readers and loyal fans, that speaks for itself. and it's something that you won't ever take for granted. At least I know that I won't. I've always said that if I ever get big, I'll never forget how I got there. I'm not saying that I'll ever end up in Hollywood or that I'll be a bestseller or anything like that, but I will never forget the people that had a direct hand in pushing me forward and supporting me. And that will always be a part of who I am. I will never leave those people behind. And they knew who they are. So, and then my readers, I'll always have time for my readers and my fans. And because that's what helps me, that's what gives life to my books. So with that being said, I want to thank you for tuning in. If you have any questions about this episode, you can comment here, or you can get a hold of me on tracyford.com, or you can send an email to oswindpublishing@yahoo.com if you have questions about our publishing company, or you can email me directly at tracyford@rocketmail.com. So with that being said, I wish you love and light. You have a great day, and I will see you next time. And I believe that we will be talking about, we will be talking about traveling and budget expenses. Very important topic. And that goes for anybody that's traveling anywhere for any reason. You have to budget those trips. So you have a great day. And again, if you have questions, we're right here to answer them. Thanks. Bye-bye.